Welcome back to Unmute Yourself. I'm your host, Jennifer Carter, and this podcast is about lifting the curtain on leadership, purpose, and the real stories behind women who dared to do things differently. We'll talk about how they found their path, the struggles along the way, and how they built something that truly matters. Now, these are normal people doing extraordinary things because I want you to know you are extraordinary too. My guest today is Courtney Confare, founder of Encoded, a transformation platform designed to help people build self-trust, unlock clarity, and rewire the beliefs that keep them stuck. And y'all, if you know anything about me, you know I love this stuff so much. So I'm pumped to get into it with Courtney. And y'all, her path did not start with some grand master plan. It started with the belief that life could work for her and a willingness to put herself out there. She has a habit of taking action before she had all the answers, which a lot of us, y'all, get stuck on. So she moved to Austin. She didn't know anybody, and she started meeting women one by one on Bumble BFF, which y'all, honestly, I didn't even know was a thing, but hey, now I know. So then she built this spreadsheet of hundreds of names and turned that simple act of connection into a thriving community and eventually a business. Blows my mind. So today, Encoded is helping people identify limiting beliefs, creating roadmaps of Y'all, I can't talk. Creating a for transformation and build a daily practice of becoming who they're meant to be. Courtney, I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing me on. What an amazing.
Well, it's just so cool. Like, you to me seem like this magical human, and magic just follows you. Do you think that's true? Or do you think like I'm just seeing the result of a certain way that you're moving in the world?
Yeah, I would say that it definitely feels like magic. However, I'm not special. I think like all of us are special, right? And like, but I'm not lucky. And this is simply because of the way that I have rewired my beliefs. And because I have trained my mind to think empowering things, and all of these things, all of these amazing opportunities continuously show up in my life. Like I've never worked a 9 to 5. I've never needed a website. I've just constantly strangers and knew that the more connections I make, the more opportunities would come from that. And lo and behold, that's always what's happened.
Okay, so how the heck did that happen? Like, where do you think that mindset came from?
Yeah. I feel like some of them I'm not sure quite where, right? I know we're conditioned by society and programming. And I do know though, let's say in college, instead of going out partying and drinking, I was always spending any free time I had watching free master classes on self-development. And so I that is probably where I heard like everything always happens for you. Don't stress over what you can't control. And I genuinely believed those things. And I thought this was normal. Like I thought everyone lived this way. I didn't realize until recently that because I don't have this like loud inner critic criticizing me at all. And it wasn't until recently where a friend was like, what happens like if you drop something? Like you don't like criticize yourself? I'm like, no, I just like, whoops, right? Pick it up, like move on with my day.
It's fascinating because I work with people who are going through career transitions or they're building their authority or their confidence. And a lot of what I work on with folks is just that, like letting go and stop white knuckling life. And the more you can let go, the more good things will happen to you. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us the story of moving to Austin and how you built your business? Because I think it's just fascinating.
Of course. I wanted to touch on that though.
Sure.
I feel like there's so much power in the power of detachment. Like I always focus on, so I don't write goals in my life. I write down things I know are going to happen and I'm not attached to the how. I'm not attached to the when. I just know it's going to show up. Like I'm attached on the what. So like I know Encoded is going to become a global movement. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know it's going to happen. And when you are so confident in your knowing, other people can feel that and then they want to step into that vision.
Do you ever have doubt?
Do I ever have doubts? Yeah, I would say I have doubt. I think right, it's like I don't have this like voice telling me like you're not good enough. However, if I rewire my if I look at my results in my life, right, and I find out that I'm not taking action on something, I'm able to then trace it back and think, what are the beliefs that are creating this, right? So, like maybe there's a belief of I feel unqualified. I feel like I don't know enough. And I could easily just rewrite this story that I'm telling myself. And it's like oftentimes when you write these beliefs down, you realize how silly they are.
So you can trace back in your map of thoughts to your beliefs, to your being. So then you can change your state of being to move forward.
Yeah, so it all starts with your thoughts. And then based off your thoughts, these thoughts are what create feelings. And then these feelings are what drive your actions or inaction, because not taking an action is also an action, such as procrastination or avoidance. And then actions that they create different results. And so if you don't want different results in your life, you need to start at the level of your identity, the level of and the thing is that most people when they try to change at the level of taking an action. So let's say most people New Year's, right? They want to start getting in shape and they go to the gym. But if you still have the beliefs that I'm never going to lose weight, like this isn't a priority, I don't have time for this, it's taken away from my career and my family, and I don't even know what I'm doing, this is never going to work, it's going to cause so much friction.
Right.
And so instead, you start by changing your beliefs, and then the actions naturally follow. There is no friction, there's no willpower, there's no motivation needed. It simply just happens.
So, what's an example in that scenario of a belief that would be changed?
One thing that I actually write down is my routines support my peak performance. And like I view myself as like an athlete, right? So if that identity and I believe that my routines support my peak performance, then I am going to start showing up in alignment with that.
It makes perfect sense. And it sounds so easy. And I think
Yeah.
people make it so hard. Why do you think we
hmm
make it so much harder than it needs to be?
I think people just don't even know that this is a route,
They don't
right?
believe it somehow. Right.
I think they don't believe it. I think they believe that you can't have it all. They believe that you need to feel. I think there's a lot of manifestation stuff out there that they say you need to feel it in order to believe it, but you don't. You don't need to feel something. If you felt it already, you would more likely or not already start acting as that person. And so, if you want to feel something, you need to start training it daily, these beliefs. And it might, like, from my people start to experience a shift within the first 3 to 7 days. But it does not become their default belief until about 30 days.
So, how does Encoded work? Because it's an app,
Yeah. Yeah, so there we have a desktop app. A mobile app is coming soon, and there's a physical journal. And I would say this is another thing. Most people don't even know their limiting beliefs, right? So
right?
this basically it starts with a self-reflection exercise, and you get clear on where are you currently in your life. Where do you want to go? So many times people may know their dream, right? But they never take a moment to reflect on where are you currently? Think of it like a GPS, right? I know I want to get to this destination, but what is the current location? So here you are doing both and then basically encoded. It pulls out your deeply rooted beliefs and it gives you a set of statements, a set of empowering beliefs about yourself and about the world. And then through training those and writing those down day in your journal, you start to naturally show up as that version of yourself.
I just started this journey and I'm really excited. Like, y'all, this is not like a paid promotion. I'm just saying it's awesome. And I've been in a mastermind for quite some time now. Do you know Paulina Tillman?
I do not.
Okay, she talks about this a lot too, and we work on this and its beliefs and thoughts and feelings and actions. And I think this is just a great compliment. So talk about how you came to Austin and
Okay.
how this practice showed up in your life and how did you get to where you are now?
Cool. Love it. Okay. Okay. So how Encoded came to be, which will tie into the Austin story. So how Encoded came to be has been a series of my real lived experiences. So like I mentioned before, empowering beliefs have been such a huge part of my life. I've always believed, don't stress over what you can't. Everything always happens for me. I am this protected light world. And the more connections I make, the more opportunities come from that. So I moved to Austin knowing no one. And because I believed that the more connections I make, the more opportunities come from it, the first thing I wanted to do was make connections. I moved to Austin in during the middle of a snowstorm. So I'm like, how can I make connections when I can't even leave my house? And so I started swiping on Bumble BFF, and I noticed that all the girls in their bio put, I don't even use this app, like message me on Instagram. Here's my Instagram handle. So I made a spreadsheet of 400 girls' names and started sliding in all their DMs like, hey, I'm new in town. Can we be friends? And the next thing you know, one of my friends actually invited me to an event. Well, not a friend. I didn't even know who this person was at the time. I was just saying yes to everything. And so I went to this event. I thought embarrassing at the time, showed him my spreadsheet of 400 girls' names. And he's like, what are you going to do with this? Like, you need to host an event. I'm like, I've never, he's like, you need to host one. Find a venue, bring some name tags. That's it. And so I found a venue that just opened up and I figured they needed marketing and I needed a venue. So we'll do a little trade. And he was like, how many girls do you think are going to show up? And I was like 15. That was a bluff. I'm like, maybe 10 will show up. I had 89 girls show up. To the manager drove in and he's like, what is this? I'm like, I'm not sure, like my soon to be friends. And so next thing you know, that led to now me hosting events with males and females and like curated socials. And my network got so big to where people were approaching me, asking to hire me to curate guest lists for them, either from their own personal events or for their events. And I would essentially fill the room and curate the guest list. And that was a business. And so, okay, so then fast forward, then I realized through hosting that I'm not actually, right. The whole intention was I wanted friends. And when I'm so busy hosting, I'm not even able to be in the deep conversations that I crave to be. So I started hosting walk and talks, which essentially is I would find some stranger that I wanted to get to know, and I would ask them to go on a walk around the trail and get to know them. And what I kept hearing from people was like, wow, I just feel so seen. Like, I feel like I can be myself. Like, no one's ever asked me these questions before. And I realized that I wasn't giving them advice. I was just giving them a place to be themselves and to do that. They started changing their mindset and viewing things from a different perspective. And then, so then fast forward, I meet my partner and we were sharing what we're both kind of feeling misaligned and we weren't sure what to do next. I thought maybe I was going to host like a self-love event. And so I said, my mission is to unlock people's potential. His mission was to show people what's possible. And we both realized that empowering beliefs have been such a big part of both of our lives individually that we created a system to empower others to do that for themselves.
And here is Encoded AI.
Yep.
That's amazing. And you've been launched now, is it been since March, February of 26?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
So I love that your core belief of when you make connections, good things happen. And that's pushed you all the way into having your business, creating this encoded AI, and finding love. And I do remember from when we talked previously that you had said something about like the more you look outside yourself for answers, the less you trusted your own intuition.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So how did you realize that was happening? That happens to so many people.
Oh my gosh, I know. I used to be the girl where my default was I don't know. Every
I don't know,
time like
help
somebody
me.
came up and I'm like, I don't know, right? Like, let me call up a friend.
Right.
And I didn't even take a moment to think, do I actually know the answer? And then I was obsessed with learning, right? So obsessed with buying every course out there, listening to everything. But then I wasn't actually implementing any of this information. I was just constantly like hoarding all of this information. And yeah, I think it just got to a point where I was tired. I think one of my friends said, I'm not sure, but I realized that I was constantly saying, I don't know. That's what it was. When I was looking at the results in my life, I did a journaling exercise where I was writing down everything and like, why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? And every single time I could trace it back, there is a belief of like, I don't think I'm qualified. I'm not sure what to do. It's like, I know what to do. So that was kind of where that.
Why do you think so many of us are trained to outsource our knowing?
I feel like because we haven't developed the self-trust in ourselves.
And what does it actually feel like to have real self trust?
It's the most empowering thing ever to have so much like clarity and discernment and to feel so sovereign and to truly know and live by that. Like that's something I write down every day. I have all the answers I need within me. It is the most empowering feeling that there is.
I just feel so zen, like hearing it because it is true. And I see people doubt themselves all day long and helping people work through that doubt. And it's so interesting to see this other perspective of somebody who's gone through it to just follow their path and trust in their knowing. Now, you also talk about, and this is actually how I found you. I found you on LinkedIn because you did I don't even remember. It was a post, I think, on your nervous system and regulating your nervous system. And not just regulating it, but increasing its capacity. And this is something that I've been working on. So, can you explain to our listeners what the difference is between regulating the nervous system and increasing its capacity?
Yeah. So I would say nervous system regulation is more so focused on how fast can you get back to baseline. And then nervous system capacity, you are raising the baseline, right? You're on a whole different level. So the things that you used to feel triggered by, you're no longer even phased by it. So like
So,
you have a stronger threshold, right? Like maybe you would get irritated about what someone said some circumstance that occurred to you, right? And you would react to it. And this time you don't react to it, you just respond differently.
I get it. So, for instance, I am thinking of a client who their whole world would be shook if they got like an immediate rejection or ghosted from a job application. And so now, because they've worked through that, it's, oh, this is just what it is. And they're not shaken by it anymore. So the regulation and what they're triggered by goes up and up and up. But it's based on
Yeah.
belief. Am I getting it?
I would say so. We'll just say you want to go through this example. So, someone gets rejected from a job
Yeah.
application, right? Okay. So, the way that you would go about this is so all circumstances are neutral. They do not have any meaning until you assign a thought to it. So, it's more so what is this person making that mean? If they got rejected, what was it? They didn't
Rejected
get
from
the
a job. Yeah.
Okay, and who even know if it's rejected, right? They just didn't get the job. And so person A can think, this is awful, right? Like, what couldn't they see in me? Like, I'm way more capable than these other people. This is the worst. Now I'm never going to find a job. And they start spiraling
The
versus,
spiral.
yeah, versus person B can think, this is amazing. I only want to work with people who see my value, right? Leading me to something that's even more aligned. And so when you have these different thoughts, these different beliefs about the circumstance, you react completely different. You're no longer spiraling. You're able to carry on with your day. And yeah, you feel better.
When you see these shifts in people, what kind of changes have you noticed in folks?
Yeah, I would say they definitely feel they sound even more calm and grounded from the people I've talked to. So they seem more regulated. And interesting pattern that I have also noticed is that their relationships around them has improved as their relationship with themselves improve. So let's say people who have kids. This person said, one of our members said that like his kid used to always have these temper tantrums. And now, because he is calm, his kid is calm. And so it creates this whole ripple effect of everyone around you.
That's amazing. And you do this yourself. Okay, so I love that not assigning meaning to anything and just it's how you approach it. And I know that you've said that your goal is to make this kind of thinking exercise and visioning and belief system as normal as going to the gym. So what would change in the world if
Mhm.
people treated inner recoding or rewiring with that level of consistency?
I just feel like it'd be a more empowered world. Like more people, I feel like would start to live life based off of their own rules. They would they would unlock their full potential. They would share their gifts with the world. They would share their voice with the world. They wouldn't be bogged down by these limiting beliefs that they're not worthy and having all of this self doubt that they feel like they're not qualified, right? They would openly express themselves. And the world needs that. So unique and has so much to offer. And I truly love the ripple effect that, like I said, it not only has on yourself, like your own sense of freedom and power within, but how much it impacts the quality of your relationships around you. Is in business, they people show up as a leader differently in your romantic relationship and even in friendships and just being a parent. Like people end up showing up so differently and it just creates this whole massive ripple effect across the whole world.
So if someone feels stuck or not sure what to do next, or just things aren't going quite how they wanted it to, what is their first step toward becoming the kind of person who trusts their own voice?
I would say step is getting rid of what is no longer serving you. So drawing awareness to what is getting in the way, what beliefs are holding you back, and then rewrite those into more empowering ones.
That's amazing. Courtney, this is so cool. We could talk about this forever, but we're going to go into a little quick lightning round. Okay.
Fun.
Okay. So just answer the first thing that comes to mind. So, I can't wait for these. Okay. What part of yourself are you finally letting the world see?
I would say me and my fullest expression. Like no
And what
longer I like, but shine even brighter.
That's beautiful. And what story or belief about yourself did you have to unlearn to step fully into who you are?
That my being alone was not worthy because I attached so much of my self-worth from my external achievements in life.
What does it cost you, if anything, to be authentic? And why is it worth it?
I feel like I have nothing to lose and like everything to gain. If anything, you lose like this extra baggage and these like weights, right? But you have so much to gain. And then why is it worth it? Everyone I feel like wants to feel free, right? In all areas of their life, not just financially. You want to even free mentally. You want to be able to live where you want to live. You want to be able to share what you want to share. And who doesn't want to feel so free and empowered?
Oh my gosh. Okay. What boundary have you set that protects your sense of self?
That was back to I stopped outsourcing my clarity and I started protecting my clarity and stopped outsourcing my knowing.
And if you could unmute one truth people are too afraid to say, what would it be?
If I could unmute one thing that people are too scared to say are just admitting the truths that are holding them back, right? So many of us share a highlight reel and we share our goals and we share our aspirations and we share our habits and we share our routines, but no one really shares what we believe about ourselves that even get these results in our life.
And what keeps you grounded when you feel pressure to perform or fit in?
That I don't need to perform. I don't need to convince. I don't need to prove. I just need to simply be and to live and to experience life and to continue to know that everything is always working out for me.
This has been such a powerful conversation. I've enjoyed it immensely. And before we wrap, I'm just curious if listeners walk away remembering just one thing from this conversation, what do you hope it is?
But if listeners could take one thing, it would be that you do not manifest what you want. You manifest who you believe you are and what you believe is possible.
Mind is blown. And on a more personal note, what has it meant for you to share your story here on Unmute Yourself today?
Yeah, I feel so grateful and so appreciative of you for just, giving me the opportunity to share my voice and my story on this amazing platform that you have built. And in hopes that this even creates a whole ripple effect of just getting people to start thinking. So thank you.
Wonderful. How can listeners connect with you?
Yeah, I would say listeners can listen to me on they could go to my LinkedIn at Courtney Confare, or they can go to encoded.ai.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Courtney. And thank you to everyone listening for choosing truth over comfort, alignment over approval, and courage over silence. And remember, I work with female leaders navigating high stakes decisions, delivering keynotes that go beyond motivation, and coaching leaders who are ready to move past being stuck in choices they already know they need to make. So if this episode resonated, share it, subscribe, and stay with us as we explore what it really means to live and lead without muting who we are. Until next time, unmute yourself.